हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. Om Vangme Manasi Pratishtita Mano Me Vachi Pratishtitam Aviravir Maedhi Vedasya Maani Stah Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi अनेनाधितेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। ओम आत्मा वा इदमेक एव अग्र आसीत् न अन्यत् किंचन मिषत। So in the beginning Before the manifestation of this world, Atma alone was there. Nothing else, no one else was there. Only Atma. Then a sankalpa arose that let me create the worlds. And he created the worlds, Ambha, Marichi, Marama, and Apaha. Thereafter, he also created the Lokapalas, the devatas, to protect the worlds. And these devatas who were born, they also fell into this ocean of samsara. So there are these infinite beings who are born to fulfill their karmas. Potentially, all exist in that supreme reality. Just like when we go to sleep, we are alone in deep sleep, but potentially the personality is not dead. So I, this person, along with all my desires, all the vasanas, the ignorance, I still exist. So after deep sleep, again I wake up to experience the joys and sorrows. Similarly, these infinite beings, they exist in that supreme reality as the reality itself. Then they are born to experience the joys and sorrows based on their karmas. So first, Hiranyagarbha is born. Thereafter, Vaishvanara is born. Then the devatas are born. Then the vanaspatis are born. And finally, human beings are born. So there is a sequence how creation happens. So in these Upanishads, the sequence are also indicated, not the complete sequence, but depending on the topic, the creation sequence is indicated. So here, the devatas who were born, they fell into this ocean of samsara. And they, since their karmas are still there, their vasanas are still there, so the desires to experience the joys and sorrows are there. So they requested Bhagwan that please give us some place, give us some body through which we can experience the joys and sorrows. We can fulfill our hunger and thirst. So please give us some place, some body. So ta eta devataha shrishta asmin mahati arnave prapatan tam ashanaya pipasabhyam anvavarjata ta enam abruvan ayatanam Na prajanihi yasmin pratishtita annam adam eti. So these devatas, they were also endowed with hunger and thirst, and they requested Ishvara to give them some body through which they can experience the satiate their hunger and quench their thirst. So when they thus requested, Bhagwan brought a form in front of them. So that is being said now in mantra number 2, section 2, chapter 1. Let us chant. Tabhyo gam anayat ta abruvan nave no ayam alamiti tabhyo ashvam anayat ta abruvan nave no ayam alamiti. Once more. Tabhyo gamanayat ta abruvan navaino ayam alamiti tabhyo ashvam anayat ta abruvan navaino ayam alamiti. So Ishvara, from that same 5 elements which were first created, from that he made a figure, a form. And what form did he make? He made the form of a cow. So tabhyo devatabhyo gam. Gav akruti vishishtam pindam tabhyah eva adhyah purvavat pindam samadhritya mochayitva anayat darshitavam. So from that 5 elements, the beautiful form of a cow was created, and with all the limbs, and he presented this form to all these devatas who were born, like Agni, Vayu, Aditya, all the direction, the Oshadhi, Vanaspati, Chandrama, Mrityu, Apa. To all these devatas here presented this form. Then these devatas looked at that form. Taha punar gava krutim drishtavan abruvan navai no asmad artham adhisthana ayan adhisthanayan annam attumayam pindolam navai. So they looked at this form of the cow, and they said, this is not enough for us to eat food, to experience the joys and sorrows. This form is not enough. Na ayam alam iti. No doubt this form is good, but they felt that they could not express completely in this form. So they were not very satisfied with that form. So Bhagavan said, okay, I will get you another form. So then he got ashvam, a horse. He created a form of a horse and brought that horse in front of these devatas. But when they looked at this horse, they were not very satisfied, and they said that this is also not enough. Navai no ayam alam iti. Not alam, not enough. See, there are various these forms are there. And through this form only we experience the joys and sorrows. We have different creatures. The devatas are there. Then here on earth we have so many different types of beings are there. It's so fascinating. And through them, the jiva experiences the amazing uh, expressions of joys and sorrows. If you observe nature, it's so very fascinating. In the seas, also, there are so many creatures, the sea creatures, who live at different depths, experiencing the results of their karma. Then on the surface of this land, we have so many different types of creatures out there. And they have their own way of living, their habitat, their food, their way of life. Everything is so very different and so very amazing. The birds, different birds, they build different types of nests to live, to protect themselves from the predators, to protect themselves from the different weathers. It's very amazing. Even tiny little ants, they live in their own community, and each and every ant seems to be so busy, working, moving, doing different types of work. So many different types of beings are there, and they have different bodies. But in all these beings, all these bodies, though there are certain things, features which are very good, but they are not complete. Something is lacking in all these bodies. Even some of them are very, very intelligent, but their bodies are uh, not effective to express their intelligence. Just like in our modern times, we have these different mobiles are there, and they have different features. Some of them are very, very smart, so they have very fancy features in them. In the olden times, we used to have a simple mobile with not many features. We can just receive calls and make calls. But as they progressed in this industry, they started bringing out very fancy mobiles with very beautiful different features. So similarly, all these animals, birds, fish, they have good bodies, but the jiva cannot express completely in those bodies. So if a human being dies to become a bird, that he will be able to fly and all, but will not be able to use his intellect completely, his mind completely. He will not be able to use all his senses completely, properly. So there are these limitations are there. So here in a very beautiful way, the creation is indicated. So first the devatas were born, Then even the vanaspatis uh, and all the aushadhis were also indicated. Then Bhagwan presented the different forms in front of the devatas, and they said this is not enough. They are good, but not enough. So then what happened? Then finally Bhagwan presented in front of them a very beautiful form, the most complex and the most wonderful form he presented in front of the devatas. And what was that form? Let us read, chant mantra number 3. ताभ्यः पुरुषम् आनयत् ता अब्रुवन् सुकृतं बतेति पुरुषो वाव सुकृतं ता अब्रवीत् यथा आयतनं प्रविशतीति. Once more. ताभ्यः पुरुषम् आनयत् ता अब्रुवन् सुकृतं बतेति पुरुषो वाव सुकृतं ता अब्रवीत् यथा आयतनं प्रविशतेति. ताभ्यः पुरुषम् आनयत्. Then Bhagwan brought in front of them a human figure, a human form, a human form. So Tabhyaha Purusham Anayat. And when they saw this human form, Ta Abruvan Sukrutam Bhateti, and they said, oh, this is most wonderful. This is most wonderful. Tabhyaha Purusham Anayat. So, Anayat Swayoni Bhutam. ता स्वयोनि पुरुषं दृष्ट्वा अखिन्ना सत्यः सुकृतं शोभनं कृतं इदम् अधिष्ठानं बत इति अब्रुवन्. And what is this Purusha, this human form? It is of the nature of that Supreme Purusha only. This human form is of the nature of the Virat Purush, Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara also has a cosmic human form. He has the head, the eyes, ears, nose, the hands, the legs, all the limbs are there. In Mandukya Upanishad, this Vaishvanara is described as having 19 mouths. Ekona Vimshati Mukhaha. 19 mouths means 19 places from where he experiences the world. And what are the 19 mouths? The Pancha Jnanendriyas, the Pancha Karmendriyas, the Pancha Pranas, and Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, and Ahankar. So in that Virat Purush, all these factors are there. Completeness is there. All this world is made from the 5 tanmatras. So these 5 tanmatras, they have this Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha by themselves. Means only Shabda, only Sparsha, only Rupa, only Rasa, only Gandha. From these 5 tanmatras, only the 5 great elements were born. And then further through the process of Trivrit Karanam, all the other creatures were born. And finally, human beings are born. So our senses are also 5. Senses of perception are also 5. The organs of action are also 5, because they are ultimately derived from these 5 great elements only. They are derived from these 5 great elements. So they are also 5. And this Antakarana is also derived from the Bhagwan's Prakriti. So from the Mahat Tattva, the Buddhi is born. From Avyakta, the Ahankar is born. And the Chitta is born. From the Ahankar Tattva, the Mana is born. So Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar are also born from that Virat Purush. So every human being is a replica of that Virat Purush. This is a very important point. Each one of us, we are the replicas of that Vaishvanara. We are complete in ourselves. This body is complete. Our Sukshma Sharir can express in this body completely. The Antakaran Chatushtaya can express completely. The Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, and the Pancha Pranas can function efficiently in this body. So this is the most fascinating and complete a body, which is like a replica of that Vaishvanara. So that is what is said here. Shankaracharya in his Bhashya, he says, Ta swayonish purusham drishtva. So these devatas were born from that Vaishvanara only. So when they saw that, oh, similar body is there, just as the Vaishvanara, they were very, very happy, because everyone likes to be one with their own source. Shankaracharya writes, his swa called one gains that peace and joy being one with one's own source. Therefore, here when the devatas they saw this beautiful form, they were very happy, and they said, Sukrutam Bata iti, that this is very beautiful. It is Sukrutam. Sukrutam means well made. Tasmat Purusho Vava Purusha Eva Sukrutam Sarva Punya Karma Hetutva. It is called Sukrutam, it is called beautiful because it is the result of all good karmas. See, when we, all our punya karmas, and when we have done whatever karmas we have done in the past, if they are good, then we get a human form. Otherwise, we are born in different forms which have their own limitations. They have their own sufferings also. But after many, many lifetimes, if we have acquired good punya, we gain a human form. So human form is the result of sukrut, good karmas. Also, swayam va svena eva atmana swamaya vihi kritavat sukrutam iti uchyate. Also, Bhagwan he made this form through his own power, through his own maya. By himself he made this form. Therefore, it is also called Sukrut, a beautiful form, a well-made form. So the devatas were very happy. So when Bhagwan saw the devatas very happy, ta devta ishvaro abravit ishtam masam idam adhishtanam iti matva. When Ishvara saw all these devatas, they were very pleased and happy seeing this form because sarvehi yonishu ramante. All of us, we rejoice in our own source. We rejoice in our own source. We become happy when we go back to our own source. The more we move away from our own nature, the more we move away from our swabhav, we experience sorrow, pain, and suffering. The more we come towards our own nature, we feel happy. So all these devatas, they were one with that Vaishvanara. They were born from that Vaishvanara only. So when they saw this form similar to that Vaishvanara, they were very happy. They rejoiced in it. So Ishvara, when he looked at them, he told them that now ataha yata ayatanam yasya yat vadanadi kriya yogyam ayatanam tat pravishati iti. So all of you, you enter this body and and uh, and settle in your own place. Like Agni is the devta of the Vani, Vak, and the place for that Vani is the mouth. So Bhagavan says, each one of us, you go and place yourself in your respective places, and from there you can function, and from remaining there you can experience your joys and sorrows. See, this whole world is so fascinating and it is very, very beautifully made. Each and every aspect of this world is most fascinating. So we have in our human body, all these devatas are seated in their respective places. We have these 19 parts in our Sukshma Sharir. So each and every one of them have their own respective devatas. So the eyes have the Aditya, the devata, the ears have the directions as the devata, and so on. Mouth has got the Agni as the devata, the speech. So all these devatas are there within this body and they function through these senses. Okay, let me give a modern example to give us some idea of this. See, like we use our mobile, we have our own that instrument is there, though it is very beautifully made with lot of features and all, but it is not totally independent. It is connected to a source because from where it functions. Suppose I call my friend who stays very far away. So from India, make a call abroad and talk to my friend. I can hear his voice. I can recognize his voice. I recognize his voice. Even if there is some change in his voice, I can recognize that. But how can I hear that person who is so far away? Because his voice cannot reach here. He stays thousands of kilometers away. So, how can his voice reach here? Actually, his voice gets converted into some sort of rays and they travel, and finally, it is caught by my instrument and it gets converted into that sound exactly as that of my friend. The sound is created by this instrument, exactly like my friend's sound, as my friend's voice. When I hear, I don't hear my friend, but it gets converted into similar sound which I can hear. So all these devatas are seated in our senses. The devata of hearing is seated in my ears. And the Akash, the characteristic of Akash is sound. So if some sound is ma- is created outside, if there is some sound, some music or some noise, then that is caught by the Dig Devata in my ears, and it is converted into a sound similar to the one which is outside, is recognized by my antakarana. It is recognized by my antakarana, and I come to know that this is the sound because these senses are connected to my antakarana, and these senses are controlled by the devatas, and the devatas are connected to these five great elements. So, through a very complex process, we come to experience the world outside. It's a very complex process in which all these devatas are involved in their own subtle way to give us the experience of this world. So many devatas together, they make our experience possible. We have seen in Chandogya Upanishad also that all these devatas, they once they had a argument also, they had a debate or argument. Each one of them, they said that I am the supreme, I am the best. Because of me only, everything functions. Then the pranas, they just made an action of going out of the body. They almost went out of the body, and all the other devatas also just followed that prana. Then the prana came back and settled, and all the devatas also settled. Then they realized that prana is the main devata who makes living or this life in this body possible. So like that, the prana devata and the agni, vayu and mrityu, all these devatas put together, they make the experience, our experience possible. So Bhagwan told these devatas that you go and occupy your respective places. Aditya devatas remains in our eyes, Dig devata in our ears. So you occupy the respective places and function from there. Then what happened? It is said now in the next mantra. Agnirvak bhutva mukham pravishat vayu prano bhutva nasike pravishat aditya chakshur bhutva akshini pravishat दिशश्रोत्रं भूत्वा कर्णो प्राविशत ओषधि वनस्पतयो लोमानि भूत्वा त्वचं प्राविशन् चन्द्रमा मनो भूत्वा हृदयं प्राविशन् मृत्युरपानो भूत्वा नाभिं प्राविशत आपो रेतो भूत्वा शिश्नं प्राविशन्. When they were given the command by Ishvara to occupy their respective places in this body, so what happened? Agni Devta, who is the Devta of our speech. Therefore, even in modern times, we say that he gave a fiery speech, because Agni, fire, is the devta of our speech. So Agnir Vag Bhutva Mukham Pravishat. So Agni Devta entered the mouth and remains there, controlling the Vag, the speech. And for speech, for this Agni, that what we call the nourishment is required, which comes from the oil and ghee, etc., which we eat. Because that ghee is fire only, which has transformed into ghee after the Trivrit Karanam, after 1, 2, and 3 Trivrit Karanam. All these details we had seen while studying Chandogya Upanishad. So, Agnir Vak Bhutva Mukham Pravishat. Then Vayu Prano Bhutva Nasike Pravishat. Then Prana, becoming Vayu, air, entered the nostrils. Nose, Nasike, Pravishat. So the prana remains there in the nose and experiences the smell, etc. And also does the breathing. So is seated in the nose. So prano vayu devta prano bhutva nasike pravishat. Then Aditya Chakshuhu Bhutva Akshini Pravisha. Then Aditya, the Surya Devata. See, the Surya which we see in the sky is the body of that Surya Devata. That Surya Devata is subtle. And Surya Devata occupies our eyes. He is seated in our eyes. And from there he functions. So Chakshuhu Bhutva Akshini Pravishat. So he becoming the sight, becoming the organ of sight, is seated in the eyes. Becoming eyes, is there as eyes. So Akshini Chakshuhu Bhutva Akshini Pravishat. Then Dishaha, the directions. The various directions are there: east, west, north, south, northeast, southwest, etc. And then up and down. all these directions, they are also devatas. They are called dig devatas, the devatas of directions. They shrotram bhutva karna pravisha. They becoming the ears, becoming the organ of hearing. They remain in our ears. So, because of these ears, we are able to recognize the different directions also. If there is some problem with our ears, then we will not be able to recognize directions properly. Also, we lose our balance. As a person grows old, sometimes the eyes, ears, and all becomes weak, and he or she finds it difficult to keep balance. You can try at home and experiment. Stand on one foot and close your eyes and see how many seconds you can stand like that without falling. Because when we close our eyes and stand on one foot, we depend on our ears only to tell us whether I am upright or whether I am leaning on one side or leaning on the other side. But if the ears are weak, then it becomes difficult for me to know and I lose my balance. With my eyes open, at least I can know which is I'm standing straight or I'm bending a little. So the ears are the place where Dig Devta is seated there. And is the Devta of our hearing. So Dishaha Shrotram Bhutva Karna Pravishata. They enter the ears and are staying there. Then Oshadhi Vanaspataya. Then the Devata of the Oshadhi, the herbs and the trees. These herbs, trees are also devatas. They are also higher than us. They are the devatas. Their body is subtler than our body. So these vanaspatis, the devata of the vanaspati, they becoming the hairs on our body. Vanaspatayo lomani bhutva tvacham pravishata. Becoming the hairs, they entered our skin. And because of them, we have the sense of touch. They have become the sense of touch. They are the devata presiding over the sense of touch. So, Oshadhi vanaspatayo lomani bhutva tvacham pravishat. Then Chandrama mano bhutva. Then Chandrama, the moon, the devata of the moon. See, the moon which we see in the sky is the body of that devata. The devata is subtle. And that devata is not only in the moon, but is present in our mind also. The devata of the moon is present in our mind. And he not only occupies one mind, but he occupies all the mind. So he occupies all the mind. So all the minds of all the beings are occupied by this Chandrama, just like other devatas. So the speech Agni Devata occupies the speech of all the beings. Aditya Devata occupies the eyes of all the beings. And all these devatas are the expression of Virat Purush. So Virat Purush alone through these devatas is present in all the beings. Therefore in Sahasra, this Vishnu Sahasranam also, in Purusha Suktam, this Virat Purush is described. Om Sahasrashesha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapad Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam, who has got thousands of heads and thousands of arms and thousands of eyes and ears, because all eyes belongs to Vishwanar only. All eyes belongs to Aditya, and Aditya is expression of Vishwanar, is born from Vishwanar. All mouth function because of Agni, and Agni is the mouth of Vishwanar. So all this connection you should know and remember. So Chandrama Mano Bhutva Hridayam Pravishata. So Chandrama, the Devata of Chandrama, becoming our mind, entered our heart. So the mind functions from the heart. See, our Antakarana functions from the place where our physical heart is. From here it functions, though it requires the brain as a support, but it functions from here. When we have some deep emotions and all, we feel here, not here. Fear, sense of I, we feel near our heart. Though the brain is also required for the mind, for the intellect to express. If there is some defect in the brain, then the Antakarana will not be able to express properly. If some tumor or something happens in our brain, some cells are missing and all, then we might lose some of our memories, or we might lose some of our powers to work or to speak. All this can happen. So Chandrama Mano Bhutva Hridayam Pravishat. Then Mrityu, the Devata of death, he also resides in us. People are afraid of death, but death has got a residence in this body. He resides in our body. And where does he reside? He has become Apana. Apan is that energy, that power of that prana, this pancha pranas, by which we are able to take in things from nature. Food and all are pulled within by this apana. So apana its residence is Nabhi, in our navel. So Mrityu Apano Bhutva Nabhim Pravishata. He remains, Mrityu Devata remains in our Nabhi, in our navel. So we should keep our navel also clean and proper. Ayurveda also says that if you apply some oil and all, it's good on the navel. So Mrityuhu apano bhutva nabhim pravishata. And Reto, Apaha Reto Bhutva, and Apa Devata, the Devata of waters, he becoming the semen or becoming the eggs remains in the generative organ. So Apo Reto Bhutva Shishnam Pravishat. He entered the organ of reproduction. So in this way, all these devatas, they entered this body. So this happened during creation, but now as we are born, all the devatas are already there in our body. So all the devatas are present in the body of everyone, of all the beings. And these devatas alone control this. They control this body. See, just like again to give the example of our mobile, we have various features in the mobile. But sometimes if we don't pay the bill, then those companies they withdraw certain features. For some time we might get the incoming calls, but we cannot make call outside. They withdraw that features. Though the mobile is in my hand, but the control is in their hand. And when we offer them the money, then they open up the features. Similarly, the devatas who are residing in our body and everybody's body, they control the whole show. So through puja, through yajna, through various rituals, we please those devatas. And when the devatas are pleased, they function properly in our body. If they are unhappy, then they can withdraw certain features. They can withdraw certain features. You must have heard the great poet Kalidas. Kalidas ji was such a marvelous poet. He has composed some of the most fascinating poems. But he was not always so intelligent. He was just a very dull person. And when he got married, his wife, she told him that you are such a foolish fellow. My prarabdha that I got married to you. So he felt very bad. And then he did upasana of Kali Devi. And he did that upasana, and the Devi was so pleased with her that she blessed him with intelligence. And with that intelligence, he could write all these poems. Also, we have seen in Aitareya Upanishad, the son of Itara, that Mahadasa, who was blessed by the Devi, that he also gained that intelligence by which he could write the Brahmanas and the Aranyikas and all. So these devatas play a very important role, and they are all seated in this body. So after the devatas got their places, respective places, this hunger and thirst, they were left behind. They did not have any place to stay. So they approached Ishvara and requested him, please give us also some place to stay. So then what place did Ishvara give them? That we will see in our class on Wednesday. Till then you take care. Be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana. Listen to the pravachan again. Contemplate. If you have any questions, you may ask. And we shall meet again on Wednesday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. जय जय राम बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।